So I've woken up today with, feels like, I don't know, yesterday I woke up full of beans, and today I feel a little bit more mellow. And last night I was trying to understand why that might be. And I was chatting with Sibel. And what is it that brought my mood down? As I'd gone from feeling almost top of the world in the morning, just feeling really quite low come the evening, and I'd lost all enthusiasm and energy. I had a list of things to do, and I did one thing. Some of them quite important things. I just could not bring myself, I didn't have the motivation to do it. And for context, I recently went to a psychiatrist. And one of the topics we spoke about was this tendency I have to go from, up here, only to go down there. And it can be quite quickly, and it only lasts me about 4 or 5 hours normally. And then the psychiatrist prescribed me antidepressants. He said, what you're suffering is a form of anxiety. And what tends to happen is that after multiple bouts of anxiety, you can develop depression. And I was kind of shocked by how quickly this psychiatrist felt comfortable in diagnosing me with, what's the right word? Mental disorder? Mental issue? A special educational need? But off the back of a 30-minute, 40-minute chat, he was willing to diagnose me, offer me medication, which I'd have to be on for at least 1 year. Medication that, in his own words, would cause me nausea and other side effects for the first week or so while getting used to them. And I think it's the first time I've gone to see a doctor and I've just doubted what they've said. I don't doubt that anxiety can cause depression. I just doubt the speed with which he diagnosed me, when I know we shouldn't be comparing people's anxiety and people's depression to one another's. But my anxiety isn't crippling to the point that I cannot move and I'm in floods of tears and I can't communicate and I'm nervous about meeting other people in public. In fact, I'm not even sure if I would term it anxiety. It's a mood swing. Maybe anxiety is a mood swing. Or maybe I'm just struggling a little bit at the moment because I don't have all my ducks in a row. I still need to sort out my Emirates ID. I'm looking for more long-term, permanent employment. I'm currently in a stage of remorse and forgiveness because I was quite rude to my mum back in the UK. I think really I see it more as that. Life's not perfect, and I think I'm feeling quite easily dissuaded at the moment. And so I didn't start taking that medication. And yesterday I received one rejection for a job that actually I'm not even suited for. And I got the email, and I'll tell you what, it was from the DCT, Dubai Culture and Tourism. At least they emailed back. I've applied for other jobs for which I was far more suited to. And I haven't received a receipt of email confirmation. I didn't receive a polite rejection. Absolutely nothing. And then for one of these institutions, I actually wanted to work with them, with Sahab, which is the artistic collective that I founded. I wanted to see if they had the possibility of me being able to use one of their rooms, because on the website, this particular foundation, which will remain unnamed, because I do admire them, they never replied to my email. And the funny thing is, because I was emailing as a company, they've got no idea of my own level of wealth. They've got no idea that I'm, in my savings. And so whoever's inbox that email fell into, what would inform their decision not to reply? And I was chatting about this yesterday with my girlfriend, and actually she says it's a lack of authenticity, and what she was getting at when we were discussing this is the fact that this institution claims to be all about society and developing culture here in the UAE. I could have been somebody that they would be happy to partner with. So why not email back? My thought actually goes to, well, maybe this particular institution is not sincere, is not authentic in its stated aims of heritage and dialogue. And actually it's just an incredibly expensive and commercially successful cultural front to gain the owner, the founder, its directors, a level of social capital, gains them access to art fairs and expensive dinners. Now I'm presupposing a lot there, but I think I was more surprised and shocked by their lack of reply than I was to the rejection I received from DCT yesterday. Because I came, I drank the Kool-Aid. I believe this institution was what it said it was. And so to not even say, "Dear sir, we have received your email. Unfortunately, we're not in a position to help you at this time. However, please do be in touch in the future." I mean, gosh, it's a boilerplate reply. It takes no time, and at least lets me and others know that there is a dialogue in the future, perhaps, if we could be more aligned. Which then brings me back actually to how rubbish I have been at communicating with the artists that have tried to work with Sahab of late. And I suppose I can argue that my issue here is that we're still trying to figure things out and how best we can actually organise ourselves. But maybe they're looking at me in exactly the same way. And so what has started as a tirade against large corporations has devolved into a criticism of myself. I'll try and do that today. We have a room booked, the activities hall in Al Safa Art and Design Library for the next 3 Saturdays in a row. And the intention is to run a literary course, 2 different literary courses, but at the moment there is 0 uptake, which is surprising. Because I did think that there would be more interest, especially once we'd secured the rooms at Al Safa, because I thought our location would lend us a degree of credibility. And either that isn't the case, or the courses I've run simply do not appeal, or the advertising is rubbish, or people aren't willing to spend the money. I remember listening to I had a friend from Russia, half Finnish, half Russian. Or was she Russian and moved to Finland? I don't know. But she was saying that the Russian cultural scene is so strong because so much of the cultural activities like ballet or music, classical music, it's all organised by state, and so it's free or minimal costs. And as a result, you've got this incredibly strong cultural appreciation within Russian society, which transforms, once those children grow, into a willingness to spend money on further forms of that education and appreciation. I recently went to a candlelit performance of Hans Zimmer. Full of Russians. And Germans, actually. Russians and Germans. So maybe I'm going to have to offer my courses for free. Motorbike. Maybe I'm going to have to offer my courses for free. And provide a pay what you can. Get people involved. Have them see what we're doing. Educate them as to what we're doing. And then maybe they too will be willing to pay for more. Who knows? Anyway, I'm going shopping now. I want to buy some chicken.